I don't really, I mean, I'm probably least best placed to like tell people why they should listen to it because I wrote it, you know what I mean? And I'm so close to it that I don't really understand it, and you shouldn't trust my opinion. It's really hard to like put it all into words because that's why you write music, you know. If you could put it into words, it'd be better to write a book because that's full of words, whereas music doesn't really have that many. When I met you, you just had this like big hit on Triple J. It was that kind of electronic hip hop that was kind of like beats, dirty grimy beats with dirty bass lines and shit like that. And that was kind of like the first, I don't know, it just blew my mind at that time, you know, like, and we started making beats and sort of jamming and stuff around that time as well. I was 19, 20. I started experimenting with electronic music around like, I don't know, 12, 13, and I was playing around with like Fruity Loops. It's an album of like last songs. I've always been enamored with the last song on the album, partially because if the last song on the album's good, then you know the rest of the alb's good.
So
but like there's a lot of
after epilogue after epilogue. It's a collection of epilogues.
It's constantly dying, you know. It never quite gets there. Yeah. But like like the last song on the album is an opportunity for like that kind of deeper sort of soul searching kind of. It's like, all right, you've got all the bullshit ones, you've got the ones that you know you were trying to make because all the cool kids are making those kind of songs out of the way, and like by the time you get to the last song on the album, it's kind of just like all that's left, like you've stripped back all the layers and all that's left is like the kind of honest raw heart. I like that feeling, and I think a lot of the music that I'm making kind of I chase that kind of feeling. There's an anger in the music and a sort of, you know, resentment and that as well, but I'm not that kind of a person, and it's like I'm much more interested in like putting positive spin on things and that. So it's really hard to like put it all into words because that's why you write music, you know. If you could put it into words, it'd be better to write a book because that's full of words, whereas music doesn't really have that many. I just felt like I had something that I wanted to say, you know, and that was the other big sort of that shift that happened for me. I actually want to say something about the world that we live in. That's why I climbed up on my soapbox, started writing like songs with lyrics, and a lot of this music that I'm writing is actually quite political, you know. Like a lot of people might not hear that straight away, but like underneath all the lyrics, listen to the lyrics, is a virulent strain of like political kind of like commentary or thought, just commenting on this world that we live in. We used to have a much more sort of established and explicit format, if you like, for writing protest songs. The Bob Dylan poet. There used to be the format of like the Rage Against the Machine punk vibe, Bob Marley format as well, but there isn't a currently an accepted format. Hip hop,
That's
obviously,
true.
like underneath a lot of that gangster rap 90s hip hop, there was a very strong politics.
You know, you put on one of these songs and it's just gonna creep up on you. You know, it's just the magic of this record.
That's awesome, dude. I mean, the more people that have that experience, I mean, it's lovely to hear that back. A bunch of people have like messaged me and have said like it's really, you know, it affects me emotionally, and I don't really. I mean, I'm probably least best placed to like tell people why they should listen to it because I wrote it, you know what I mean? And I'm so close to it that I don't really understand it, and you shouldn't trust my opinion. People are very scared to actually deal with the real emotions of their lives, and to deal with the real emotion in a very public forum, like such as, you know, being an artist, you know, putting your face on this stuff, you know. Go deep and learn something, a real truth about being a human in this time, in this day, and then then write the song. And if you find something that, you know, those kind of real like life truths that you've like hard-earned truths that you've earned, that you've learned, and you try and write a song about that, then I guess that's where the emotion comes from, and you can't help but just kind of like be affected by it, you know what I mean? Just the tornadoes that I just got sucked up into, and I had no choice but to write them.
I think that's one of your strengths, the way you take these different elements, blend them all together in this really tasteful mix, and that's one superpower of Unburdened, like post-rave, post 8-bit chiptune, post-soul R&B, prog, like it just comes together really in a special way.
Yeah, thanks, man. Like I'm actually like, part of the reason why I called it Unburdened is I'm really happy that it's not in here anymore. It's not on my hard drive anymore. It's like out in the world, and I don't need to think about it. I mean, the record for me was really a studio project. It was a world that I sort of stepped into in the studio, and it really, it was a private world, and so it's kind of weird that it's all kind of public. Yeah, I've been playing around with these kind of thoughts and these memories of it was a euphoric time for music as well, in that sort of like early to mid 2000s, like Daft Punk and like
post-trance, that post-euphoric euphoria, like, that 2000s, the new millennium, like anything's possible.
yeah. Where are we going at? It's the year 2000. We're living in the future. We have a thing called the internet and mobile phones,
right?
And SMS. Like, you don't call, just text me, bro. Beep 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 beep.
And now here we are in the future, and we're a bit overwhelmed, aren't we?
We're fucking lost. Yeah. So like if Unburdened was like some of the most difficult aspects of like this time that we live in, of being human in this time, of being human in a time where we live in a society that's based around not being human. It's based around being like a machine, like a computer. Bro, you're not a computer. You need to start treating yourself like flesh and blood human, because that's exactly what you are.